What's good? What's good? What's happening, everybody? I appreciate you guys checking in. I'm here. I'm here with my guys. Two of the great content creators on here, covering the Raiders, always dropping great content. I love having these guys on because I know not only do they got the knowledge of the game, but they're gonna hold my knowledge up as well a little bit. So I'm excited to kind of have them on here. So I appreciate you, Chris, at Protect the Shield podcast, as well as the Severe Raider. Make sure you guys go and subscribe to them. Chris, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Chris, you here? Can you hear me?
You mute yourself.
We'll let Chris for that side out. Severe, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Oh man, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I can smell the grass of the season, man. I can smell it already. It's so close that I can almost reach out and touch it. I cannot wait, man. It's been a long time. No football. But hey, man, we are coming back. We are coming back.
Not yet, Chris. Can't hear you. Let's see. We'll see if we can try to figure Chris out real quick. Let's see this. I think I might go in, come back. Try it again, Chris. Not yet. Chris, you try to figure your side out and just chime in as soon as you get that figured out, we'll just chime on in. But again, salute to the chat. I appreciate everybody. They're starting to roll in now.
Oh, for sure.
Let's go, Huey P. What's going on, man? Salute to you. Appreciate you rolling through. Ready to love. I appreciate you posting up, man. Always excited to see you guys. Oh, Chris, we want to see. Are you back?
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, now we're feeling you.
We got you. Now we're cooking.
Right.
Now we're feeling you.
I'm always messing up the beginning of the show, man. My bad.
Let's go. Let's do this. I'm gonna say what's up to the chat real quick, and then Chris, we'll say what's up. On Six Soldier, what's going on? I appreciate you rolling through. Free Thinker, what's going on? Appreciate you checking in. My 2 cents, you always around, man. You always around, and you always holding our feet to the fire as well. You always in that comment section. I appreciate you rolling through. Right. SoCal Sal, what's going on? Daniel Kim, appreciate you posting up. Let's go, Raider Nation. Jason, what is good?
Going on?
And our guy, Raider Transparent. Angelo, what is going on, man? Hey,
we got both of the Aiden O'Connell guys in here. Okay, that's good. I'm glad to see
you. I'm ready for this little guillotine fantasy football thing that Transplant's putting together. That's going to be it's going to be my first time doing that setup, so that's going to be interesting. So let's go.
Let's see if they put their money where their mouth is and draft Aiden O'Connell. Let's see if they do that.
First round. Hey, that's going to be crazy. 18 people drafting, and then it's basically the lowest score gets cut, and you're out. I mean, an 18 person draft, that's crazy. John Parker, what's going on? Appreciate you rolling through. Let's go. Let's keep doing it. Kenny Young, you just popping through. Appreciate you rolling up. All right. Yeah. Now, Chris, we got your audio. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Here with my dogs. Got Red Hat Severe in here. Got my boy 805. Let's talk this talk, man. And priming them about to play here in 15 minutes. Let's go.
I know. That's first college game, right? First college game of the season.
Well, yeah, first big one because I think there was a couple games.
There's a few games last week.
Yeah.
Was there a few games last week?
Florida State lost to somebody.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. And you know what? Typically that I was actually out of town. I was doing fantasy football with my boys back home, and so because I wasn't here in Nevada, couldn't throw some bets down. That's typically a game I would bet on, and I would bet the under, or I'd bet the sleeper. Basically, I'd bet the under.
Florida State,
just because you're going international, you don't know how people are going to react to it, and so I usually will throw a little something on the underdog. But
it's usually smart to bet against DJU because he's not.
I heard he played. I heard it was more the offensive play call than it was actually him. When they actually let him throw and release that ball a little bit, he actually did fairly good. So, but I didn't watch the whole game. So,
everybody's gonna be watching this game closely, this Colorado game closely, because I know everybody is infatuated with Shedeur. So, I know
But
there's going to be a lot of Raider fans watching this one.
everybody is, and let's say, let's put that question out first. Chad, what's your opinion on Shedeur Sanders? Do you think that's a quarterback? Depending on how this season plays out, do you think Shedeur Sanders is a quarterback we got to target next year in next year's draft? I hope we can't reach him at all, which means we're a playoff team.
Right.
I
Right.
hope that it
Exactly.
works out to where we're not even looking at a quarterback. But if it rolls out that way, chat, let us know what's your opinion on Shedeur Sanders. But let's get into it. Severe, like you just said, I mean, you can kind of smell the grass at this point. We're one away from the first NFL game. You know, we talked about it a little bit before, and it's tough because it's going to be a great matchup, KC versus the Ravens, but that means the Ravens get a couple extra days to prep for us, which is going to make it for a hard, East Coast game. But we'll talk about that, obviously probably next week or the week after. But I'm excited. We can smell the grass. It's right around the corner. It's time. But what we do know is, even though we got that initial 53-man roster, that's going to change a little bit because the waiver wire hits. We've made some moves. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about kind of what this offense looks like, what position group we're excited about, what position group we might be concerned about, and then we're going to flip and do it on the defensive side as well. We're also going to talk about kind of the practice squad guys. There was some names that got added. Now, all the lists that I put up there, they're not going to be completely updated because the Raiders haven't updated the list just yet, so we'll kind of improvise. But we're definitely going to touch on it all because I think all three of us can agree there's a really good chance we're not going to see much movement from here on out.
Yeah.
The 53 we got is the 53 we're rolling with. So we're going to be excited. So we'll talk about the waiver wires in just a second. But transplant, you're saying that Shedeur Sanders will be our next quarterback. Again, hope not. That means we're going to be making the playoffs. And we're out of that reach.
Yeah. Well, Minshew's going to go out there and win it. So you ain't got to worry about that.
There you go. Let's hope so, right? Let's hope so. All right, so first things first, what we're going to do is I'm going to pull up just some of those. I'm going to pull up some of the waiver wire guys.
Yes.
Let's go. Bam. So we got some waiver wire guys. All right, so up on the top left, we got Darnell Holmes coming through from the Giants. On the top right, we got Justin Shorter. He's a guy coming from the Bills. He was drafted last year, played at the University of Florida. I think that's what is that? That's Thomas Harper on the bottom left, right?
Yeah.
Thomas Harper on the bottom left. You got Darnell Holmes on the top right, and then Jonah Lalu from previously was on the Browns. Is that correct?
No, the Colts.
No, the Colts.
That's right. The Colts. But AP did say that he had a presser earlier today, and he did say that was a guy that they were trying to target kind of in the 7th round, and they missed out on him. So they might be a little excited. But, first things first, with these guys, that's bringing in 2 defensive backs. I believe they're actually going to be on this roster starting out. We got Justin Shorter that's going to be on the practice squad. And, guys, update me. Let me know. Is Jonah Lalu, is he going to be on the actual 53 or is he going to be on practice squad?
I think 53.
He's 53. He's 53.
Yeah. I think he's 53 as well, but I wasn't 100% sure. So let's do this. Let's start this out. One, a little bit of some depth pieces on the defensive back side, a depth piece on the defensive side, and then we'll talk about Justin Shorter because he's kind of an interesting guy. But do you think any of these defensive backs will even move the needle when it comes to our defensive back group? Severe, I'll let you go for it first.
Yeah, man. I think Darnay Holmes, I think he'll bring a veteran presence. He's been in this defense before. He's a guy that he's a little bit undersized. He's like 5'10", 5'10 and a half. But he's super athletic, very physical for a smaller corner. And he's a guy that can play inside and outside. I'm a UCLA fan, as I've said before. So my football pain runs very deep being a UCLA fan and a Raiders fan. But he's a guy that, he was a star cornerback at UCLA. He's a very highly touted recruit coming out of high school as well. So being a UCLA alum, of course, that's automatically builds a connection with our DB coach because he is as well a UCLA alum in Ricky Manning. So I think he'll move the needle for us. I definitely think he'll move the needle. He'll provide that veteran leadership that we didn't have because Faison, was Faison.
Was face on. Chris, who do you think between these defensive backs? You think one of them will move that needle a little bit?
To be honest, I'm not sure if any will move the needle. I think my guy from the Giants, he has some experience with Patrick Graham's system. But like Severe said, undersized, kind of reminds you of a Meek Robertson, just a physical guy, just a little undersized. To me, it wasn't the veteran leadership that I was really looking for, for that room. However, from my understanding, he could play inside and out. So, I think that gives a little flexibility there. But he seems tough, so he brings that dynamic that, we want on defense. So, he's not going to be like a Brandon Faison sitting on the sideline, hurt with a hurt pinky. So, if he can play, he's going to play. So I respect that. And then, yeah, so to answer your question, I don't think it's going to move the needle though. I still would like to get a little bit more on for the cornerback, especially if there's an issue with Jack Jones and that drug test situation.
Man.
That's what the chat's starting to talk about. The chat's, talking about Jack Jones. Honestly, guys, fill me in. I don't know what's going on with that, to be dead honest with you. Is it just a random drug test and we'll see what happens, or?
Yeah, so basically, so the NFL, they reached out to him at 5 a.m. and I guess when they reach out to you, you got 3 hours to complete the drug test. And I guess from my understanding, I guess he missed it because I guess he texts whoever back saying, "Hey, you got to give me more time than this." So I'm not sure. I haven't really been following it that much, but that's just kind of initial info I got on it. Severe, you might have more.
Nah, I don't have any. I honestly don't have any more information on it outside of what basically is already out there in the atmosphere at this point. I'm pretty sure. I think he was frustrated with the timeline, but I think they either come to your house or they come to the facility. So, he should be able to have taken the test. That 3 hours gives him more than enough time to go to the smoke shop, get some fake urine, warm that thing up, and and be solid. So I think we'll be good.
Yeah, that's tough. Either way, that happening so close to the season.
Yeah,
you're just cross your fingers that nothing pops up. And so,
did he end up missing the timeline though? Did he? Because the text that I saw him sent back was like maybe been at like 7. So yeah, something. So I'm like, did you make it or not? And I ain't hear nothing else of it. So I don't know.
Yeah, real quick, Raider Nation, Jason, we're going to talk about the practice squad guys that we're bringing back and all that. So definitely stay tuned. We're going to talk about that. But chat, one thing I'll say is if you got a question for the panel or what have you, start your comment with hashtag Raiders. It kind of helps me just kind of look through it. And if you got a question for us, start out with hashtag Raiders. So it just catches my eye and I can definitely jump on here. But again, before I kind of give my take on the waiver wire players, shout out to the chat. More people coming through. Dread for show 1, 2, 3. Appreciate you rolling through. Eli W. Good to see you in here. Raiders for life. Good to see you as well. Shout out to our boy Jane Daniels. I'm telling you, Severe, you mess with everybody since he's coming out. Jack Cannon, what's going on? Appreciate you rolling through as well. You got another Raider podcast. What's good? What's happening? D Menace, you always around, man. I appreciate you rolling through. And then you got Hit Stick Stepper. What's good, man? I always see you coming through as well. And J Steve, you got hashtag what happened to Ron Stone. We will get into that. We'll talk about kind of the practice squad guys, and we'll definitely talk about that. But real quick, my take on these guys. I think the only way, especially for the defensive backs, again, we'll talk about Justin Shorter and Jonah Lalu in a second, but I think the defensive backs, they're just going to move the needle on special teams. the one thing when they signed him, I went and kind of looked at a little bit of their tape, and they seem physical. They seem like they're physical corners that are going to come up and potentially make a play, which that to me it just kind of triggers kickoff team, and so I think that's where these guys can definitely help out. And that's where, as much as I felt like MJ Devonshire, even a guy like Wu Governor, they were playing physical enough, maybe not more Wu Governor. They were playing physical enough to really show that they could produce on special teams. But you watch these guys film. They play physical. So I think that they're bringing in, obviously, one for more of a veteran presence, but I think they'll definitely move the needle a little bit when it comes to the kickoff team and special teams. But in the defensive back room, not so much. Yes, maybe the veteran presence will be great. That's why I wanted kind of Sam Webb to possibly be on this roster, kind of create a little bit of a veteran presence. But obviously, we let him go. But I think we'll see his face back here fairly soon. But I think that's kind of where I stand with those two guys. And then on top right, we got Justin Shorter. Justin Shorter is very interesting because he was originally a receiver out of Penn State, played for Florida, and then he came over to the Bills, was drafted by the Bills, had some injuries going on, and now he's kind of transferring to the tight end position. That's what the Raiders are going to bring him in as the tight end position. He's a big boy. He's 6'4", 6'5". I think if he transfers over the tight end, he was already sitting at about 225. You tack on another 10 pounds on him, he can be that versatile tight end type. And I remember him at Florida. He was one of the better receivers that Florida had. The only reason why his numbers weren't as good, and I'm not a big the quarterback over at the Colts, Richardson.
Richardson.
I'm not a big fan of his. I watch Florida a lot. I just don't think his game's going to transfer over to the NFL, and I think that's why Justin Shorter just didn't have a better college career, because it's just the inaccuracies of Richardson over there. So, but what's your guys' take real quick on Justin Shorter, and do you think has a chance at producing on this practice squad and maybe having a spot, since we only took 3 tight ends? Do you think the Raiders might have another plan for him? Chris, I'll shoot off to you.
Yeah, no, you kind of hit it. I think he has good size. I think that he has an opportunity, but again, I like the tight ends that we did keep. But he will, I think, have an opportunity to at least at least try to catch some attention. He has the ability, but like you said, get him a quarterback that can actually get him the ball. We might be looking at him a little bit differently, but again, he's still not a guy that I think is going to move the needle, but he is definitely intriguing to look at just because of his skill set.
Severe, go for it. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, man, same thing. Just taking a flyer on a guy that has talent, and he can kind of turn into a versatile type weapon. I know the person that comes to mind automatically is the transition that Darren Waller made from Georgia Tech, being a wide receiver to tight end in the league. With us in the Ravens. So I mean, he's a guy that I really don't see contributing that much this year, to be honest with you. I think even if one of our tight ends goes down, we kept enough wide receiver talent that we can move away from 12 personnel, and we can go 3 wide and still, kind of throw the ball all over the yard. They may affect our run game a little bit more than anything, but we put Jacoby in the slot. Jacoby's as good or better of a blocker than Mayer or Bowers, to be honest with you. So I don't think it'll really change too much of what we do. But yeah, I mean, he's an interesting guy. He has the measurables, so just let him sit on the practice squad and see what we can turn him into.
Yeah, I think he's just going to end up being a pretty athletic tight end that we can kind of take a look at and just see, can you find a spot?
Like in Joshua.
Real quick.
That's what I think.
That's a good point.
I'm with you on that. Another Raider podcast he's got. I've been hearing a lot about 12 personnel. What is it and how does it impact our team? So 12 personnel is basically how many running backs versus tight ends you're going to have on the field at one time. We're known to Luke Getsy's known to play multiple tight end sets. We're going to have 2 tight ends. We could have 3. And I think that there's a chance that we might find ourselves with 3 tight ends sometimes on the field because we're going to rely a lot on our running game, in my opinion. We're not going to have quarterbacks, Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew. They're not going to be slinging the rock 50, 60 times a game. That's just not going to be our game plan, in my opinion. And so how does it impact it? I think that's what it is. We're going to run the ball quite a bit, even though Luke Getsy shows a lot of balanced play calling. I think that we're going to run the ball quite a bit. We're going to find ourselves with 2 tight ends, possibly 3 tight ends on the field at times, or we're going to pound that rock. And that's why I'm excited to see a certain position group on the offense, and we'll touch on that in just a little bit. Anything you guys want to add onto that one?
No, man, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. For anybody that doesn't, like, if you play Madden, when you think about like single back formations, like one of them in there is like, like the twin tight end set or whatever. So just think about a single back formation. You can have 2 tight ends on one on either side, or you can have 2 lined up on the same side. So yeah, just it's power football. Power football. If you got the talent at that position to do it, and I think that is one of the more effective personnel groupings in the NFL.
Exactly. And real quick, Jack Kenna, he says, learned something new on the Wild Wild West show last night. Tom Telesco only made 1 trade in 10 years. That's nuts. Is that a bad sign? Not improving the team?
Know who that one trade was? Did anybody know who that one trade was?
Yes.
Who was it?
He moved up to take Melvin Gordon.
Ooh.
Oh, that's right.
Ooh.
Yep. So I knew that because that basically for me solidified the fact that I knew we were not going up to get a quarterback in the first or second spot, not even in the top 5. Looking at Telesco's history and knowing that, I knew there was no chance. Maybe we could have moved up a couple spots if Telesco really liked the quarterback. But I had no confidence that Telesco was going to move up at all. So what I'll do is, Chris, I'll pass it on to you. Do you think that's a bad sign in the chances of improving this team?
I don't think it's necessarily a bad sign. I mean, like Severe said, the one time he did trade up, it wasn't a good trade, but you still got to look at the teams that he built as far as on paper for the Chargers. I mean, he built a strong unit. He just, however, wasn't able to pick the right coach to get the most out of them. But I mean, you get me somebody that can use their draft picks and not have to bounce around and give up draft capital and stuff like that, and still find quality players and build a strong draft build a strong team and roster. I'm okay with it, man. It's it sounds like they were interested in trading up this year. It just didn't work out. Sounds like he's a little frugal, but I'm okay with that.
Real quick, I don't know about this side of stuff, but the test was for blood and urine. Cannabis stays in your system for 6 months. If that's true, I don't know much about that.
Jack Jones for sure getting popped. That's the case.
I'm about to say. Real quick, so we can get kind of into the other topics. Just that last free agent, you got Jonah Lalu. I think, again, I said it kind of right in the beginning. AP said earlier today that it was a guy that him and Tom Telesco were actually trying to target this year's draft, and obviously missed out on him. So it's the opportunity to bring him in. You guys informed me that you think that he's going to be part of this 53, or he's being signed to a part of this 53-man roster, which allows us depth, which is good. I looked at him. I think he definitely breaks that 300-pound mark, so do we think he's just kind of a rotational piece? Again, we saw a lot of Patrick Graham running a 5-man front in preseason, which we didn't see in previous years. So exactly. We're definitely looking at some depth. Severe, what do you think about this pickup, and do you think it moves the needle when it comes to possibly pressing some of these starters?
I doubt if he presses any of the starters. I think there's more depth and more than anything. And the fact that he is more of a 3 technique, maybe they're looking for more juice as a pass rusher in the middle from some of their depth, because they had we spoke about a guy that we all liked in Siaki Ika, who's more of a big body, who's more like a nose tackle, a two gap kind of guy, you know, kind of in the mode of John Jenkins, and we elected to go with this guy who's more of a smaller, and he's still 200 pounds, but more of a pass rushing DT guy. So I really don't see him making that much of an impact unless we, you know, choose to go to that 5-2-4 more often. Then if we elect to go there, I don't see John Jenkins playing that many snaps. So, you know, I think that will kind of press him into duty if we do elect to go 5-2-4 more often than not. But other than that, I really don't see him as anything more than a depth piece.
Chris, got anything to add on
Yeah,
Lalo?
same here. Same here. He does seem you know, just kind of listening to what AP was saying about him is it sounds like he kind of gives that. I think he used burst you know, specifically just basically saying that's kind of what he wanted to see out of the DTs anyway, because I believe he showed up for a I guess a pro day workout or something. He said I think that's when he first originally caught his attention. But yeah, so I'm you know, at the end of the day, if it's somebody that at least has that mentality that we're looking for in the middle, what that we didn't get from Byron Young, you know, I'm excited to see what he can do. Again, just like Severe said, I wanted Siaki myself just because I watched him extensively, you know, at Baylor, because I wanted a DT that draft. If it wasn't Jalen Carter, you know, I wanted him. So, you know, just you know, I definitely think he can make some you know, make some plays, but he's gonna have to prove it.
I agree with you. And shout out Mama Tried Raider. She says Tom Telesco also had like 13 Spanos brothers breathing down his neck. His past doesn't necessarily represent the future.
That's a good point.
And I 100% agree. I mean, I
point.
felt like because one of the Spanos sons was a part of, he was in control of all the contracts. He was in control of the salary cap, the whole nine. And so he's the one that was basically in control of who are we signing, who are we keeping, was in charge of the roster. I don't know how much Tom Telesco kind of had a part in all of that. And so I 100% agree. I think for Tom Telesco, this is a clean slate for him to kind of work his magic if he's got it. So, you know, we'll see. And that's why I think there's a good chance he might be playing that long game. I think he's not necessarily thinking about today, but I think he definitely feels like he's got some time. So, again, salute to the chat. I appreciate everybody rolling through. Again, if you have a question specifically for the panel, would have you just hit type in hashtag Raiders first. It catches my eye so I can kind of pop it up there. So, and if you haven't already, do me a favor, hit that like button wherever you're watching. Go and make sure you subscribe to both these guys' channels. You got Chris at Protect the Shield podcast as well as the Severe Raider. Make sure you go and subscribe to those guys' channel. Always throwing out fire content. Whether it's a popular opinion or not, we are honest and we roll with it. That's for damn sure. So
we're usually not too popular, opinion wise.
No. And again, we roll with it. We enjoy it. All right, next up, let's go ahead and let's take a look at some of the practice squad guys. All right, so we're going to go ahead and throw that up there. We got some, again, for everybody in the chat, this is on the Raiders website. They haven't fully updated yet. There's going to be some players on here. For example, said before we jumped on, MJ Devonshire, I think, was signed on to the practice squad. He's not on here, I don't believe, so it's not fully updated. But I know the vast majority of us already know kind of who is on that practice squad. But one question I have is there someone on here that you're excited to see on the practice squad? And do you think there's someone that at some point in this season can find themselves on this 53-man roster? Severe, I'll hand it over to you to start out.
I would say the guy I'm most excited to see on the 53 on the practice squad rather, and it could be a situation where if things don't go well, we end up seeing him elevated, and that is Charles Snowden. I know on our roster prediction show we kind of talked about him, and I like what I saw from him. You know, he's a big you know, big defensive end. He's like 6'6", 6'7". You know, with some athleticism. I think he had some struggles in the preseason, but he showed some flashes as well. you see he's a guy that's willing to work. You know, he was one of the guys that was at the Pass Rush Summit with Max and everybody else, and he actually outperformed, in my opinion, one of his counterparts that was there in Tyree Wilson. And I think if the Tyree Wilson experiment does not go as expected, we could be seeing a whole lot of Charles Snowden.
I agree. Chris, anybody you're excited about, you think that might have a good chance of getting elevated up to this 53-man roster?
To be honest, Sam Webb, you know, when we originally waived him, I was a little concerned because I figured that they were going to try to stick with Faison. Again, you know, I think Sam Webb, he still has a lot more to prove, but you know, I've always liked him for some reason. I always saw something in him. He would flash here and there. I think he can play at this level. So it's definitely him. I would say also, you know, I do like what's his name? Where's he at?
Your boy.
I'm sorry, Charles Snow. Charles Snowden. I do like him as well. You know, he was able to show some flashes, and again, we may need him. You know, just kind of looking at our depth chart and kind of where we're at. If there's any injuries, God forbid, we need somebody that we can trust to come on in. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think one guy I'm excited about is again Sam Webb. I think Sam Webb might have a chance to get elevated to this 53. I think one of the things that the Raiders like about Sam Webb, not just the coaching staff but the players, is he came out and said that apparently he got offers to go play elsewhere.
Yeah,
and he stayed, which is huge, you know. And he did show out a little bit in the preseason. Had that batted pass that Chris Smith picked off in that last preseason game. He is a veteran. He's a bigger corner. If some of these waiver wire guys don't necessarily work out, Sam Webb is still physical enough to help in special teams if we need him. So I agree with Sam Webb. One guy that I think there's a really good chance that we might see him elevated is Carter Bradley. I mean, if any quarterback goes down with us only picking two, I think he's getting elevated in a second.
That's true.
And he played well enough in the preseason to where I think that you have to at least give him a chance. If he had all training camp, all off season to be in Luke Getsy's system, and then he's now in the practice squad. Now, obviously, you're not running Luke Getsy's system on the practice squad. You're running the other team's offense, all that. But you're still in the building. You're still understanding the terminology. You're still in that quarterback room. You're still hearing it, right? So I think at the end of the day, if there's just one injury or one scare to one of these two quarterbacks that we took, I think Carter Bradley's going to get that instant call coming up. So that kind of covers the practice squad guys. Again, we know who's on there. One guy, MJ Devonshire, he did get signed on to the practice squad. We'll see what happens. I like the kid. I thought he was going to be able to contribute, have a chance. He did make the initial 53, but they moved on with him. You know, one thing I will add, which is it is a little tricky, right? You got Tom Telesco. Sometimes these GMs are playing chess, not checkers, right? You keep a guy on that initial 53 so that they don't necessarily hit waivers right away. You let all these other teams kind of snag up some of these waiver wire players, and when they fulfill their when they fulfill their roster, then you drop somebody off, and the likelihood that somebody picks them up now that their rosters are basically full, it doesn't necessarily happen. It allows you to potentially bring somebody back onto the practice squad. So sometimes it's chess, not checkers with these GMs. So, all right. And then we're going to get into the exciting part. We're going to get into the exciting part, but before we're going to dive into this final 53-man roster. But again, salute to the chat. Salute to everybody joining through. I appreciate everybody. Again, if you got a question, just hit that hashtag Raiders before you type it out so it catches my eye, and we'll definitely try to pick it up on here as we go through it. But, one question to the chat is what are you most excited about with this offense? We're about to dive into the 53. We're going to talk about the offense first. What position group or player are you most excited about when it comes to this offense? And we're going to kind of dive into it. All right. We're going to talk about the offensive side first. Severe, I'm going to pass on to you. This is our 53. I think these are the guys we're going to roll with. The likelihood that anything changes over the next day or two is slim to none, because you are now in prep mode for the Chargers, right?
Yes.
You are making sure that you're making sure that your scheme, your strategy, everything is in place today to make sure this coaching staff's got to get prepared to kind of coach up these players and implement that strategy. What position group are you most excited about on this offense side of the ball going into the season?
Yeah, man. I think the easy answer would be to go with tight end, because we got Michael Mayer and we got Brock Bowers, but I'm actually gonna go wide receiver. I'm gonna go wide receiver, man. I just think that you have a top three guy in Devontae. Depending on how you feel about Tyreek and Jay Jettis, he might be number one. And then I think we have one of, if not the best, number two wide receiver in the league, and Jacoby Myers. I'm excited to see the emergence of DJ Turner and Trey Tucker, and this offense. Trey Tucker went from being the body catcher, now he's out there catching bodies. So
Bar.
he might be a guy that's a big part of this offense. And then Tyreek McAllister, we saw what he did in the preseason. We're going to see whole lot of him on special teams, in the return game. And then Ramel Keaton, man, I think we have a good blend of guys that are bigger bodies, possession type receivers, older guys, veteran guys, as well as some young guys. So I think it's a very good group. We hit basically every category there. So I'm excited to see what they can do.
I'm with you. And Chris, before I hand it off to you again, Mama tried Raider, I'm gonna bring you up again. 100% agree. I mean, yeah, if we got to elevate, I'm not saying we're in complete trouble, because yes, that means Aiden O'Connell is coming in, depending on who obviously a starter is at a certain point in the season. We still got a good quarterback in the second position to kind of help this offense continue to move. But yes, I mean, then if that second quarterback goes down, then Bradley's the next man up, and then we're really in trouble. I 100% agree. But Chris, go ahead. What position group or even just player are you most excited about kind of going into the season?
So, I gotta give two, man. So I'm gonna start off ruffling some feathers, man. Gardner Minshew, man. Gardner Minshew, man. This is the best talent he's had. I'm very curious, man, because when's the last time we truly had a quarterback that had like that fight in him that Gardner has, like the refuse to give up? Like, I know all of us, we rooted for Carr for a long time. Carr had a lot of good games for us. I'm not gonna sit here and badmouth them, but to have a quarterback behind there with a true dog mentality, I can't. I don't know the last one that we had. If you really think, what, Bruce Grakowski, like he had that. I mean, if you really think about it, like who had that dog, like refuse to lose, like I'm leaving it all.
Matt McGloin.
Connor Cook. Yeah, but so it's like, and I know a lot of people they don't want to hear that, but Gardner, he's a gamer, and is he going to throw for 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns this year? Probably not. But the fact that he's going to take on the identity that I think this coach wants us to have, I'm excited to see how it plays out. And then secondly, man, I'm ready to see what Brock Bowers can do, man. The arguably the best tight end that's ever came out of college football. Severe. Hey, I'm ready to see how how Getsy uses them. A true weapon. I don't know, man. I really have high hopes for Bowers. I think he could be a rookie of the year candidate. I mean, I know they don't. That's a quarterback award, but I'm ready to see him just take that next step.
I'm with you. So I am going to stick with the receiver group, and I've already seen a couple of people put in the chat. Anna Diaz, I think we're going to see some wild plays this season, and I think that's Raider Nation Jason. You're saying Trey Tucker, looking forward to him actually being a target versus a decoy, and that's what I think is going to create the most excitement out of this offense. Is last year we struggled to find that one player that was going to stretch the defense and open everything up. Trey Tucker was there, but he had some drop issues. He didn't secure the catch as much as I'd like him to, and it seems he got he got that LASIK surgery. Hopefully that helped him out, and it shows. I mean, it looks like he's catching the ball much more clean this offseason and during the preseason games. And with that speed, and then you got Tyreek McAllister. We'll see how he kind of works out. But then you got DJ Turner that finally has shown he can actually contribute as a receiver. You know, last year he was a really good return special teams player. But then all of a sudden, we start to see flashes. Now, obviously, this has to all translate to the regular season where we're playing starters, but I don't think we're going to see the same Trey Tucker as last year. I think that he is going to have that ability to take the top off the defense and make those wild plays. You know, you look at what Luke Getsy was able to do with a guy like Darnell Mooney last year, and it didn't look like he did a lot, but it was because Justin Fields just didn't hit Darnell Mooney
the ball. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so Darnell Mooney was, I think, I really liked him as a receiver, and he's kind of a quick, fast receiver, and I think that's what we have out of Trey Tucker. And I think Trey Tucker is just going to add just to the excitement of this offense if we can put it all together. And you just hit him 2, maybe 3 times a game, or you just show that he can beat the defense, and we can show we can stretch that defense. Now you got Devontae Adams, Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, they're all going to eat underneath. And good luck to the defense at that point. So that's, to me, yes, obviously Brock Bowers, we'd love to see what he can do as just a kind of explosive rookie and all the praise that he got coming in the league. But I'm really excited to see what this receiver core can do now that we got the speed to top it all off. So,
I mean, I know we all spoke about basically receiving options for the most part. But I think what's been the talk recently, I think even Antonio Pierce spoke about it at his presser today, I want to say, is that this run game, he talked about Zeus came back looking bigger, stronger, even though he put on more weight, actually looks faster and more explosive. And all off season, we've been saying we're going to be a run first team, and being in that 12 personnel is going to allow us to really, you know, have a matchup advantage in the run game. So, you know, I chose receivers, but if I was looking at just one individual player specifically, Zamir White is the guy. Zamir White is the guy I'm looking at.
Hey, he all I know is he better. He better be everything he's supposed to be.
I do better than what Josh did last year. He's better than Josh did last year. And
Here we go.
Real quick, Trap God, we're going to talk about Brock Bowers kind of towards the tail end of this. So stay tuned. We're definitely going to talk about him, and just, I'm assuming you're asking about him not basically being on the practice field. So we'll definitely touch on that real briefly. One guy that I'm going to throw out there, and it's not flashy, but Chris, I know I sent you some videos of Ellerson Smith and just kind of how I like watch film. And
it was legit too, Severe. It was legit. He had some bursts off the line.
Okay. But was he standing next to Tyree though? Because he might have just been regular. But if you're standing next to Tyree,
optical illusion,
like you moving like you moving 1,000 miles an hour.
No, one guy that I'm actually kind of low-key excited to watch, and I think that he might, and I'm just going to throw this out there, I think he might be a guy that converts a lot of some key third downs for us, is Michael Mayer. I'm excited to see kind of how he develops, only because he now is going to be that 4th target potentially on the field. You know, you got DA that's going to get all the attention. Jacoby Myers is going to get attention. Trey Tucker, if he can press that defense deep. Brock Bowers, you obviously got to account for the running back coming out of the backfield. Then does Michael Mayer get kind of lost in that mix? Does he get matched up against that 5th defender? And that's where I think Luke Getsy can kind of find those mismatches, because Michael Mayer coming out of college was touted as one of the better pass catching tight ends that can contribute in the passing game. And that still remains to be seen. But at the same time, if he's your 5th option against the defense's 5th defender, I'm excited to see just kind of how he develops now that he's not going to have all the attention in the world. So that's definitely one guy I'm going to be paying attention to. So, all right, let's go again. Again, appreciate everybody in the chat. Appreciate you. I'll remind you again, if you got a question, you want us to throw it up there, just hit that hashtag Raiders. It'll catch my eye, and I'll try to put it up to you or put it up on the screen. And so we talked about offense. Now let's go to the fun part. Let's talk about defense. All right, so I'm gonna scroll this thing down. Let's talk about defense. And Chris, I'll kind of throw it to you first this time. Same question. Now that this is our 53, likelihood nothing's going to change. What position group are you most excited about? And then is there a specific player that you're really looking forward to seeing kind of how he develops? What's your thoughts?
So the first part, how can he not be excited about this defensive front? This with Max, big Jenkins right there, Christian Wilkins. I'm really excited to see how he does next to someone like Max or Kuntz or whatever. I really like Malcolm Kuntz. I've liked him, ever since we drafted him. So that front four, I'm just extremely excited about, and I know that's a popular, way to go. But one thing I will say is when it goes to who I'm excited to see their development, I think everybody know who it is. It's Jacorian, aka Mr. Shutdown Bennett, baby.
AKA, I haven't heard that one. I wonder who made that up.
You guys may not know. You guys may not know. I was on my own that one, and I'm gonna keep reminding you guys. But seriously though, I'm excited to see what he can do, man. It looks like he probably has some confidence back. So he doesn't have a Marcus Peters showing them the ropes. So I'm just excited to see what my boy Bennett can do. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And I like our depth, and for like the linebackers with Bernie and Gaynor. So there's a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, man, there's a lot to be excited about. And real quick, James Lowe, I appreciate you, man. The 499 super chat. He says, fellas, thoughts on Jack Jones being asked to complete a random drug test? Strange timing, don't you think? That is something we actually talked about just kind of earlier in the show, but we could touch on it real quick. Look, drug tests are random. That's the hard part. They're so random. I think what's so hard is because we're Raider fans, right?
Yeah,
we're Raider fans. And we always think there's some conspiracy going on against us. And all of a sudden, it's one of our best players on the defensive side. They're random. It's so hard to kind of put two and two together to see if they're really trying to come after us. But guys, we'll touch on it real quick. What's your thoughts on the random drug test?
You know what they say, 805. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not actually out to get you. So
touche, very true.
But yeah, man, it happens. It happens. I'm sure he's not the only guy across the league to get a notice. I'm sure a few of those slips were put in the mailboxes, and a few of those texts got sent out. So I'm sure he's one of many. I just hope that he passed it, just because we're definitely going to need him. Maybe not week one, because like Lad McConkey, I think we'll do okay with against Lad McConkey, but like we do got some other teams coming up, and I do think we're going to need him. So but like I said, I'm sure he's not the only guy that they got randomly drug tested. So if we took that attitude, I'm sure every team feels some kind of way about their guy being asked to take a test.
I'll tell you real quick, like, shout out to the chat because somebody said it. I mean, they say cannabis sits in your system for up to 6 weeks, 6 months.
6 months.
6 months. And I don't know exactly what they test or what the rules are when it comes to just cannabis or marijuana in the NFL. But if that is true, if that is the case, the only thing I'll say is that's on Jack Jones at the end of the day, to be dead honest with you. I mean, if there's an issue with cannabis or marijuana and you're not aware of that when it comes to drug testing, then that's on you. I hope that you pass. I hope everything's cleared. But man, I'll tell you right now, if we're missing him, that's going to be a struggle. That's for sure. So real quick, Severe. Your thoughts on defense? Who are you excited about? What unit are you excited for, and who you excited to watch after?
So I'm gonna go a little bit left field. I'm gonna go with, because my least favorite player plays on this unit as well. Uh,
Let's
uh,
chat.
okay.
Let's see. Do you know who Severe's least favorite player is? Not just on the Raiders, but the entire NFL at this
you
point.
know, my least favorite player in NFL might be Justin Fields.
Yeah,
To
I'm
be
about to
honest,
say Justin
Okay,
Fields is
all right,
probably
all
his
right.
least.
Fields, I was roasting Justin Fields.
But the moment this player misses a
Oh,
tackle,
Oh man.
then we'll
oh,
see.
let him miss the tackle and let the guy we should have drafted go out there and play well. Oh, it's gonna be. You would never hear the end of it ever. I will bring that up to the day I die. Well, how we said we could smell the grass on the opening of the NFL season. I could smell
Around the
the ink
corner.
drying on his doctor's note that he bring into Antonio Pierce.
God
That's
damn
already out here for
it.
some football. But I'm gonna go with linebackers, man. And it's mainly. I mean, Spillane. Spillane is a guy that I know a lot of people last year, they were mystified by that signing. A lot of people kind of poo-pooed it and said, "Who was this guy?" And I was saying last year, "Yo, this guy's a dog. Like, don't worry about it. When he gets here, he's going to perform." And when he got here, he performed. Um, but I'm expecting a big year from Devon Diablo. I think it takes some time to not only to adjust to the talent gap. He was in the ACC. I mean, so just going from the ACC to the NFL, that's a huge talent gap. Not like he was some SEC guy, and then going from safety to linebacker as well. So I think, and he didn't really have a lot of time on task due to injuries. So I'm expecting some big things from him. And then we saw the Amari brothers, man. That could be the future at linebacker for this team, because I'm not depending on the other guy. So it could be Amari Burney and Amari Gaynor as our future backers. And I was impressed with Bernie, but I was extremely impressed with Amari Gaynor.
Yeah.
And I was going back to 805. He was the guy that he was on his radar. And when we first picked him up, he was telling me about him. He made me look into him. And I liked what I saw. And just have a guy with that kind of versatility that gonna only play, play at the linebacker position, but in a pinch, if you need a guy, throw him on the edge. He's a guy. He did play some edge in college as well. So I just having that versatility there, I think it is going to be huge for us. And I'm expecting, maybe not this year, but I'm excited to see what contributions those guys can make this season.
So, real quick, Jack Kenna, you said it's much. Not sure if you're responding to someone in the chat, but we're talking about D line, and that's one of my biggest, one of the positions I'm most excited about is the defensive line, because I think the defensive line is going to set the tone for the defense. It's that simple. It's not like we have, we have a solid defensive back group, but there's still some question marks. Can Jack Jones repeat? Can Jacorian Bennett step up and be that true number two? I think our safeties are solid. I think they're going to have a solid year, but this defensive line is going to set the tone. And you basically say it's much easier for the offenses to slide block to Max and Wilkerson playing the same side. Do you either move to the other side? If yes, who? And look, the one thing I'll say is that, yes, it's much easier if you got Christian Wilkins and Max on the same side. It's much easier to scheme to them 100%. Not only do you slide, but you also move the running backs to kind of lean to one side, get some chips off of Max, the whole nine. But I will say it's much easier, in my opinion. Guys, disagree with me if you want, but it's much easier for an interior to D lineman to move around than it is a defensive end to flip from one side to the other.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
So if you're going to move somebody, I think Wilkerson's definitely got to move around. And it would be my preference to not line them up next to each other. You definitely want to even that defense out. And the great part, and the only thing I'll add to it is you still got Malcolm Kuntz. I mean, this entire defensive front, from the interior D lineman to the defensive ends, is just going to be nasty and scary. And the thing is, you got to watch out for Max 100%. You got to count for him, but pick your poison at this point. And so, but to me, again, I just said D-line. The one player that I'm excited about, and this is the one, one great part about now coming on YouTube, is sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. But if you get it right, you kind of happy about it a little bit. I think it was probably week 4, week 5. I put a video on my channel that basically said we have Tyree Wilson's replacement already in the building, and it wasn't Malcolm Koonce, but it was Janarius Robinson. I think Janarius Robinson is going to be very interesting to watch because you got Malcolm Koonce and this possible extension lingering. And at the end of the day, are you gonna pay Max Crosby top dollar and then also pay another edge rusher top dollar when you got Jack Jones? If he continues to produce, you might want to pay a number one corner. You still got Trayvon Merrick that you got to potentially extend. Marcus Epps, if he continues to be a leader on this team and a veteran that people look up to, do you want to extend him? Do you keep 2 high paid edge rushers when you could possibly get a rookie in the draft, kind of mid to later rounds? I want to see if Janarius Robinson can really produce. Not saying that I don't want to extend Malcolm Koonce, but I would love to see that there's another edge rusher. I don't think Tyree Wilson's it. I want to see if there's another edge rusher that gives us options. So that's one guy that I'm really excited to see kind of how he develops, because I saw sparks, I saw flashes last year, and he's another big-bodied defensive end that I think can be on the opposite end and allow us to possibly not have to invest so much money in just a defensive end position when we already have Max Crosby. So
exactly,
that's kind of who I'm excited for. And then so we touched on offense, we touched on defense. We're going to kind of go through this chat. I'm going to look through. Sorry, chat, I might be a little behind a little bit. I'm going to look for some hashtags, see if there's anybody having some questions. But as I kind of scroll through this, one question is, and this is a topic that AP kind of touched on earlier today, is because the season's right around the corner, are there any concerns? And I'll throw one name out there. Any concerns going into this week 1? What's your guys' thoughts? What's your guys' concerns on Brock Bowers? He hasn't reported to the practice field just yet. We only carried 3 tight ends, right? We only carried 3 tight ends, so we'll kind of see how that plays out. But Chris, I'll hand this off to you first. Any concerns on Brock Bowers being prepared and ready for week 1?
No, I'm not concerned at all. And that's just because I'm taking AP's words, for what it is. I'm trusting what he said, that Brock Bowers is fine. He's just trying to make sure that he's ready to go. At the end of the day, it sounds like Brock's one of those guys that I think he said that we may have to protect him from himself. He may try to play through injuries that he doesn't need to, so we need him to be explosive. But the kid takes care of his body. He works hard. He did have an injury last year, but I think generally, he's not really known as a guy that gets nicked up too often. So I've no concerns there, honestly.
Severe, your thoughts on Brock Bowers?
Yeah, man. If I was going to, I was very critical of the Brock Bowers pick. But with that being said, I like Brock Bowers as a player. I just didn't think we should have drafted him. But I'm kind of taking AP at his word as well, as Chris said previously. Brock Bowers is a guy, he's all about football. So for him to miss his NFL debut, he's not a Tommy Eichenberg.
I was about to say, just like Eichenberg, he loves ball.
Like not Tommy Eichenberg, where he's just gonna, like when preseason came around, Brock Bowers was there and all the games that he missed for personal reasons. So I think they're just being precautionary, and I think he will be out there for week 1 suited up. And I think we'll get a very exciting matchup because we get to see what do the Chargers do? They have a chess piece, and I think and that chess piece is Derwin James. Even though he is a little bit older, but that is a guy. Do we see him shadow Brock Bowers, or how do they decide to cover that? But I think Brock Bowers is fine, man. He's a guy. He played in the SEC from all accounts, from everybody. He works extremely hard. He's a very tough kid. So I'm not really too unless he actually misses the game, and then I will be concerned. But for right now, everybody's saying they're expecting him to be there week 1, so I'm expecting the same.
So I'm gonna jump back a little bit because Jack, can you bring up something good, which is very interesting. I'll give you my opinion on it real quick. But Chris, you and I, as the season goes on, we keep doing this. I hate to say it, but we might have a little drinking game. How many times Severe brings up Eichenberg on the IR?
Oh yeah,
he might end up going on the IR. And
oh
all of a
yeah.
sudden, Severe's gonna have to
take a shot every time he brings up
time.
Eichenberg.
Every time you bring us,
I'm bring him up just to make y'all drink.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will. Damn it. So Jack Ken, you said 7 linebackers kept. Still can't see why Kanai Malga is still there. One thing I'll say about that is I looked up how many other defenses that play a similar defense that we do, how many linebackers they kept on the roster. And the highest number I could see was 5. And so what was really interesting about that was I was like, okay, then is this new kick return format, is that making a lot of the teams keep a lot of linebackers? Because you want some of those bigger, more athletic, those tacklers on that kickoff team. And is that kind of influencing the decision to keep those linebackers? And at the same time, you sometimes keep linebackers or certain people that you possibly want to keep on the roster, let the waiver wire go, right? They're on that 53-man roster. You let that waiver wire teams start to kind of compile their teams, complete their teams through waiver wire, and then you drop off some guys. It was interesting that we kept basically all of our linebackers. It is very interesting that Kanai Malga is still there. We could have used an extra tight end, in my opinion.
Yes.
We could have used probably an extra corner, in my opinion.
Definitely,
yes, we picked up some guys off our waiver wire, but I do think that we should have probably released a linebacker like Kanai Malga. But I will say, and what I know about here, I'm in kind of the Vegas area, is that Kanai Malga is a local favorite. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but yeah, keeping 7 linebackers are a little bit strange. Severe, I'll ask you a quick question. If we were to drop off a linebacker, do you think that there's another position group that we really could use another player? And off the top of your head, do you think who could that have been?
I mean, if us keeping 7 linebackers, that's part of my speculation as to why I assumed Eichenberg was going to go on temporary IR, because you have to be on 53 to go on the temporary IR. Because if you do it before the season starts or before the active 53, then they're gone for the season. So I thought they might do that. They haven't done it yet, so maybe they're just going to roll with 7 linebackers. I would say I would look for maybe possibly another tight end, man. I would like to see another tight end, or I would like to see us possibly, depending on how we feel about Tyree, maybe add another presence on the defensive line if we don't trust him to be, the maybe not even the third, maybe not even the fourth, defensive end on this team. Maybe we do, elevate a guy like a Charles Snowden, and then we can throw your boy Ellerson Smith on the practice squad and kind of keep them stashed there.
Yeah, Chris, anybody, if we were to get rid of one linebacker, again, maybe Kanai Malga, because I was really surprised he made the 53. I think when we did our evaluation of the 53, we didn't keep him on there. If he were to drop off, is there a certain player position that you'd want to bring another body on?
I mean, I'm still not truly sold on the defensive tackle depth. Like I don't mind, the guy we just picked up, but I still would like to get another guy in the middle. I still feel pretty good about, our defensive ends, but I wouldn't mind looking at another guy, but definitely defensive tackle for sure. Just because I think Jenkins will be fine, Adam Butler will be fine. Of course, Wilkins will be fine, but besides that, I'm not too excited about him.
And I don't mean to bring this kid's name up because this could be a whole another show in itself. But John Q say Tyree bulked up. He's a young bull rusher. He needs to play D tackle on a 4-3. He has no bender on the corner. And I know we touched on this. I think actually Severe and I we touched on Tyree Wilson. It looked like he did bulk up. There was that photo that was floating around a month ago or something like that of him looking bulked up. And I'll be dead honest, based on what I saw in the preseason, that to me, I think that was just
Meant nothing.
photoshopped. I mean,
Man,
he,
yes,
that's the hard part. And if he did bulk up, if he did add weight, it didn't show
that was that pump.
whatsoever
That was that
in that
pump.
Yeah.
That's how that was, man.
didn't show up in that preseason game, unfortunately. I agree with you. I think Tyree needs to play more inside. That's why I was surprised we didn't bring on maybe another defensive end, like Snowden, keeping Snowden, possibly Ellerson Smith as well, because I think Tyree Wilson was going to play more inside. That we're going to give him a chance at the edge, playing off the edge, because that's what he was drafted for. But I thought he was going to play more inside. But after watching him in the preseason, I just don't even know where this guy fits in at this point. So.
And one thing I think when everyone keeps talking about him playing inside, and they act like DT is just a skillless position. Like you still have to have good hands. You got to be able to still have a good get off. I mean, you can't just put a guy inside and just think that he's gonna, have a skill set all of a sudden. I mean, that weak ass. Well, okay, never mind. Let me stop hating. I ain't gonna call it a weak ass bull rush, but it's like you got to have something more than that, man. I'm just saying, like, people.
Chris, you're 100% correct. And the thing is the only reason why I wanted to see him more inside, because he showed flashes last year on the inside. And so as a coach, right, as a coaching staff, you want to set up a player, you want to put them in the position that they have the best chance of success. I don't think DN position.
Oh yeah, there's no chance there. There's no
exactly.
Chance.
And so not to say he's going to be good. I think that's where Tyree Wilson potentially had the best chance at finding some success. Was he going to beat out Adam? I don't even think he beats out Adam Butler, to be that honest. I like Adam Butler.
No. Butler's nice. Adam Butler's nice.
Now, and again, the only reason why I said possibly bring him down was because Patrick Graham showed that he's going to possibly run a 5-man front this year.
Yeah.
So you add an extra body, you put him down on the inside to be a rotational piece, again, in hopes that he could possibly find some success. Not to say he will, but at the end of the day, you got to put a guy somewhere where he could help the team. And I don't think at the edge position, he is going to help the team at all, unfortunately. No. So.
And the thing about being inside is that you need better first of all, things happen inside a lot quicker than they do outside. And you need to have better hands inside, and you need to have better awareness inside.
Yeah, where's the ball? You got to find the ball.
So and that's one thing we criticized him for is his eye discipline, right? Like he has bad eyes, so maybe he needs some LASIK surgery. Maybe he needs to hit up Trey Tucker and be like, "Yo, bro, like, where did you go?" Because
Trey Tucker knows somebody out here to help him out.
Exactly.
He got a guy.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, one of the guys I compared Tyree to when he was drafted, and just in terms of his body style, and I would hope that his playing style kind of would mimic it, was, if anybody has ever seen David Irving he was here with us for a little while, but David Irving from the Cowboys, big tall guy, not super athletic, but he was
I liked him though. I liked him.
I liked it too. Yeah, he was a monster with the Cowboys. He just couldn't stay right. And I was hoping that Tyree can turn into that kind of guy where he's super physical, super aggressive, like not necessarily a whole bunch of technical skill there, but he's just so physically overwhelming, not only with his height, but his arm length and his power, that he will be able to just demoralize guys with that. But Tyree seems to just lack not only the skill, but the inclination or the desire to even be that kind of player. Right. Yeah. I would say, like, or if something, like, even if he can be like a Michael Bennett type of guy, where kind of like a hybrid D tackle, like, who was with the Seahawks. He wasn't a guy that was super bendy or super athletic, but Tyree don't have that kind of dog in him. So if you don't have that 1-2, man, like you're up the creek without a paddle.
Even Justin Tuck, like you get guys like that, that could didn't necessarily have bend, they were strong, but it's like you said, without that desire, and that's why I was so off on him early on, because it's like just little things like that just flash to me like, man, he don't got that want. Like you look at someone like Adam Butler, like, yeah, he's not the most skilled person, but he's, he has a motor. He's gonna keep on going, man. So I don't know.
So real quick, and that's basically what's exciting. And I'm coming back. I'm looking for the comments. Let's see where to go. Let's see. It is Alec M. I appreciate. I mean, look, Raiders' future looking bright. Let's keep that positivity. Let's make it work. QEP, 10 days. I mean, exciting. You know, we were talking about it earlier. You can smell the grass. You know it's right around the corner. But one thing, I saw a comment. Free thinker. Tom Brady as part owner will be our lucky charm. I see. Just Tom. I'll be honest, and this is just my opinion. Just Tom Brady in the building. I understand the greatness of Tom Brady. Don't get me wrong, but man, I can't see. Nothing feels good about Tom Brady being in our building. I'm sorry. That's just how I am. I can't. It's hard. I know that there was an article that came out that basically said that if Tom Brady does get a part ownership, there's going to be a lot of stipulations behind what he can actually do or be a part of, since he's going to also be part of a broadcasting team, I think for Fox, I believe it is. You know, so, but man, free think, I'm sorry. What's your guys' opinion? I just, it hurts me every time I see him sitting next to Mark Davis, because I just don't know what's going on over there. I can't stand Tom Brady being in that building. But what's your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, me personally, I'm not I don't hate the guy. You know, of course, in Michigan, I was he had some good years. He had some good years with us, but yeah, some people hate him because of the tuck rule still. I mean, I'm way over that. So is he going to be our lucky charm? No, I don't think so. But but it's still good to have a winner in your building. Someone at least with the mentality that's at least going to, if nothing else, he's going to keep that same standard that someone like a Devontae has, or he's gonna at least demand that standard. So like being mediocre and stuff like that is not going to be something that's going to be tolerated. So you got to respect that he's a winner and he's going to expect greatness. So his personality is a little off sometime, but hey, if he can help make that the organization all about winning, I'm with it.
You gotta be a little different to be as great as he is. Let's put that. I will put that.
Oh, absolutely.
You gotta be a little different to be as great as he is. Jack Kenna, I think Chris is to you, but I think we all can agree Tyree played better inside than outside. Yeah. I think that's pretty consistent across the board. Severe, what's your thoughts on Tom Brady actually getting a piece of ownership?
Yeah, man. I think people are making much ado about nothing. Like, Tom, that play was how many years ago?
No, they won't let it go.
Not like Tom. Like, Tom didn't make the call himself. Tom on the field. Man,
what are you talking about? You don't know.
Tom on the field said, like, the refs were there to hear it.
He knew it was over.
He said,
Tom
I don't
told
know
the
why
refs
they're
what was about to happen.
it. It's a fumble.
Severe.
Yeah.
So and it is John Gruden's fault for kicking that damn, or I think we punted it and gave the ball back to Tom Brady. Didn't think that a 6th-round guy could drive the team in the snow and beat him, and he did. So I don't blame Tom Brady for that. And like you said, man, it's good to have one of those alphas in your organization. We see what the Commanders, they're trying to completely revamp their whole organization. So what did they do? They brought in Magic Johnson. The Dodgers, I'm in LA, right? The Dodgers were a horrible team, bad all the time, under their previous ownership. They bring in a new ownership group, they're bringing Magic Johnson, things change. So when you have one of those kind of guys in the room, he just commands the respect. There's Glenn Ross, coffees for closers. Like, who's our closer right now? Like, Tom Telesco, have you heard this guy? Like, he's the most uncharismatic person I've ever heard in my life. Mark Davis, he's kind of a goof, and he's kind of a laughing stock in some respects. So if you have a guy, if you're trying to recruit a big name free agent, and you have a guy like Tom Brady sitting across the room from you, we see he was able to get Antonio Brown together for one season and drag him across the finish line to a Super Bowl before that went bad. So I just think that having that kind of influence in your organization, I think it's only can be positive. especially at the quarterback position, the most important position.
Look, it's always good to have a mind like that. Just the tough part is not all great minds transfer. I mean, look at Michael Jordan and what was it
The
God, what was the squad?
The Hornets
or
the
Hornets.
Hornets. Yeah.
First
the Hornets.
it was the Hornets.
Yeah, Hornets. Yeah. Then the
You know, it's just
yeah.
It doesn't always transfer. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, shit. I'll one thing I will say, and just I'll add, is whether or not the rumors were true that Josh McDaniels actually thought Tom Brady was going to come out of retirement, and if it was true, if Josh McDaniels had, I mean, they're obviously close, had a conversation or thought that Tom Brady was going to come out, and all of a sudden he just backed out and screwed him.
Yeah.
Tom Brady just, I mean, didn't screw us because good thing Josh McDaniels is his ass is out of here. But at the end of the day, you know, just greatness like that doesn't always transfer to creating a great team. So we'll see. We'll see how it works. But again, hey, everybody in the chat, I appreciate you guys. You guys have been rolling strong for us. We're rolling through. I apologize if I haven't been able to get to everybody, but we talked about a lot. We talked about we're over an hour in. We talked about the waiver wire pickups that we touched on, our practice squad. We now firmly believe that this is the 53-man roster that we are rolling through with. You know, as we go in, we're going to be going into the Chargers real quick. I think, Chris, you're rolling into LA?
Oh yeah, it's going down. I'll be there Friday, about to tear that town up.
Get a let everybody know that's in the chat. Let everybody know what's going down. You guys, I think you guys are putting a bunch of stuff together. A bunch of you guys, the syndicate are
so we're having a big tailgate, man. And you know, and salute to Myra G and my man Cal from the crew. They're based out of Oakland, man. So they travel all over and have legendary tailgates, you know. So we're gonna have a live DJ, crazy amount of food. It's gonna be a full bar. It's just gonna go down, and you know, all the TRS gonna be there. You know, my brother Severe is gonna be there. So we're just gonna act up, man. But it's gonna be a heck of a time. Guarantee it's gonna be epic, man. So if you guys are going to that game, man, make sure you guys come check us out in the pink lot.
In the pink lot?
Yeah.
I don't know. I had plans to try to get over there. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to shoot over there for that game, but I'm gonna be going to Carolina. This is the home opener, but I think you're also gonna be here for the Cleveland game, right, Chris?
Yep. Yeah, I'll see that game too, man.
Are you gonna Severe? I know you're kind of in the area for the LA game. You gonna try to shoot over there and see what's going down?
Yeah, man. I'll probably be at both LA games this year, so I'm for sure going to the Chargers game. Probably going to the Rams game as well. I want to get out to Carolina for the home opener, but my son he has his first game that weekend. So his first game is football season. So I might not be able to make it.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, no, it's not hard. You got to be at your boy's game. It's that simple, right?
Yeah,
it's really not that hard. But as we kind of go in, any just last thoughts, guys? I'm going to keep going through this chat, and I'm going to try to get any questions that anybody's putting up there. Any last thoughts going into this Charger game, right? Whether it be concerns, or anything you're excited about, anything that, you know, Chris, I know you know Jim Harbaugh, most being a Michigan guy, right? You know more about him than we do in the recent years. So, Chris, I'll kind of throw this at you first. I mean, how do you think we're going to match up against Jim Harbaugh going into the Chargers?
You know, I think Jim's going to want to be physical. I just don't think he has the personnel yet. You know, it's going to take him a little while to kind of build that bully. But plus, I just don't know if the NFL is still going to be able to have his type of system. You know, I look like when I look at his system, you know, I see a lot of what's his name that was at Vrabel, you know, kind of like a Vrabel type system where where he's going to try to kind of you know, control the line of scrimmage and stuff like that. I just don't think he has. I don't think he has a running backs to do so. I don't think he has the tight end because he loves his tight ends. That's why, honestly, I thought that Brock Bowers was going to be a Charger more than anything. So I'm glad we kind of dodged that bullet. But I'm just not concerned, man. I just don't think he has the guys, and I don't think he's going to be able to lead these millionaires now the way that he was able to do so in San Francisco. So and again and what he did in Michigan, you know, before the whole cheating scandal, he was an epic fail. So
Yeah, I just saw there's a Netflix.
Pay cut.
Huh?
Remember they emasculated him and made him take a pay cut.
Yeah, they made him take a pay cut, and he had to go find someone from Alabama to take the play calling over.
So I saw there's a Netflix on the whole sign stealing thing going on.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
I haven't seen that either. Interesting.
So the one thing, the one question I got is the one thing that a lot of people liked about Jim Harbaugh when there was the questions between, is it Jim Harbaugh, is it AP, right? Jim Harbaugh, wherever he went, he was able to turn the program around. So what that tells me, and I don't know this for a fact. So again, Chris, you kind of know him a little bit deeper than I do, but that tells me that he does a good job of adapting to the talent that he has in the building.
He does do that.
If you can turn things around quickly, that means that you either adapt your system, you're able to coach to the players or the skill set that they have. You know, do you think that's something that he's going to do with the Chargers? And do you think he already has Justin Herbert. I know everybody, there's kind of the verdict out there whether or not Justin Herbert's the guy, you know, but do you think that he's going to kind of repeat that a little bit and adjust his system coming for his second stint in the NFL? Is he going to adjust his system to kind of get the best of his players? And, you know, whether this is going to be a tough week one.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, he does adjust, you know, to a certain extent. You know, I think he did a phenomenal job with Kaepernick. He kind of took the league by storm at that point when he kind of brought the pistol into the NFL and kind of got that going. I think the NFL wasn't really ready for it at that time, and capitalized. But you know, at Michigan, you know, I know we got the championship, but you know, without the whole cheating thing, I mean, he struggled, you know. So I had to sit there and watch it. I went through it, you know. I wanted to fire him, you know, I think around 2020 or so. You know, I just don't think he has what it takes to really motivate these guys. Like, and plus he rubs people the wrong way. No matter how you feel about him, you know, no matter where he goes. No matter where he goes. So, and again, when you're dealing with you know, college kids that are just trying to live their dream and get to the NFL, you can talk to them and they'll be more tolerant to certain things. But when you're talking to guys that's making, you know, $25 million a year, you know, they're gonna tell you and your khaki pants to go on somewhere, man.
Khaki pants. Samir, what's your thoughts? What are you looking forward to just for this Charger game? Obviously, going into this upcoming week, preparing for the Chargers. Anything that you're looking forward to or paying attention to as we prepare?
I mean, the biggest thing I'm looking at with this game is that expectations. The Raiders have not done a good job dealing with expectations. Anytime they're expected to be a good team or they're expected to beat somebody, they find a way to lose. We got Jeff Saturday with the Colts, lost. We got
Baker Mayfield on Thursday Night Football.
Coming off of the sofa, we lost, right? We're coming off 2 good wins. And we were facing, you know, backup quarterbacks in Minnesota. People expected us to win. We lost. So I think anytime we're expected to win, we tend to struggle. And I think that this is a game that I think a lot of people are expecting us to win this game. You know, maybe not the media writ large, but I think within Raider Nation, we're all expected to win this game. So, you know, we talk about Jim Harbaugh, how he usually turns things around, but it usually takes him a little while, right? I think the first couple of years at San Diego State, he struggled. The first few years
that first year did, yeah.
Stanford.
Yeah. The first few years at Stanford, the first year at Stanford, it wasn't good. Even his first year or so with San Fran wasn't that great. Goes back to Michigan. He was underperforming so badly that we talked about they took money from him, right? So So we'll see. It could be a situation here where he starts off slow and gets it going later on. And also, he's a run first guy. I think their running backs are J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. No, but I would say something about that. But last year, Deontay Foreman cooked us. So
True.
Was it Madison with the Vikings last year who was struggling and he got hot against us too,
Yeah.
and had a pretty good game. So these backup running backs we really haven't been taken care of. That's what I'm saying. It always goes back to expectations. Can we deal with the expectations?
Yeah, I think for myself and can't wait. Well, we're gonna us three. We're definitely gonna try to jump on next week and kind of recap, really prepare. But the one thing that I'm preparing and talk about the Chargers game, but the one thing I'm really excited to see and interested is just how our run defense combats this Chargers run offense. I think Harbaugh is going to want to run that rock. He's going to want to control the clock. He is going to want to ground and pound the crap out of us. And it's going to be the biggest test. It's going to be a huge test to see just how legit this front seven is going to perform. You got our defensive line. Chris, one of the things you touched on was our lack of depth at the defensive line position.
Yeah.
Is that going to potentially hurt us at some point when they just continue to just try to ground and pound us, and all of a sudden just our rotation pieces just aren't there? Does Divine Diablo, does he come out and really perform and show the flashes that he saw last year? We all hope that, and I know Severe hopes that one linebacker doesn't step on that football field. So, we'll kind of see just kind of how it throws up. But that's my biggest thing is I want to see just kind of how this run defense really performs. Because I think this defensive line is going to set the tone for this team and for the defense. And so I'm excited. Guys. Any last thoughts before we check out of here? We've been on for about an hour and a half. I think it was a solid show, but any last thoughts before we check out of here?
Hey, Raider Nation, give Guard Dog a shot, man. Give him a chance. That's all I'm gonna say. Give my guy a chance. I'm gonna leave it, keep it short.
Because you have to, damn it. That's all I gotta say. Because you have to. Just put it that way. Severe, what you got? Any last words?
Same thing, man. I'm excited to see. I think this is the first time in his career where Gardner has been, the guy, and he actually has the talent to kind of complement him. I think he had that, he got thrown into a fire his rookie year with Jacksonville. Then his second year, they were kind of a talent deprived team. And then same situation when he got his opportunity with the Indianapolis Colts, right? They drafted Anthony Richardson in front of him. I don't think they're nearly as talented as us on in terms of their personnel on offense. So this is the first time he has all of those things going in his favor. So I'm hoping he performs. He's a guy that loves ball. AP talked about it before. He's a guy, he broke his hand to play an extra year in college. Like, you know what kind of dedication you have to do something like that? Like, that's dedication right there. So if you're willing to do that kind of harm to your own body just so you can play more football, I think that says a lot about the kind of person you are and how much the game means to you, man. So yeah, man, like as he said, man, give the guy a chance. Give him a chance.
I'm with you. And we're going to end with this one. James Lillard, appreciate the super chat, man. Appreciate you coming through and just watching. Each of you name your 3 favorite all-time Raiders. You know what? I'll start out first. I think.
Well, hold on real quick. Should we do only players that we've seen play, like old enough to play? Let's see.
Yeah. Let's go see him play. I'll be checking. James, let us know. Let us know if you want to see all time, or just the ones that we've seen. But I'll go first because for me, it's ones that I've seen. Not every one of them in person, but at least they played during the time I've been watching Raiders since 9 years old, basically. So my number one, Tim Brown. Tim Brown is one of the greats. I've had a chance to kind of meet him and interact with him quite a bit when I lived in Texas. Great guy, but definitely that's top 3. Charles Woodson, without question. I think that he's just going to go down as one of the greats. And I know this is kind of cheating, and I'll throw another one out there. But right now, I think Max Crosby is going to go down as one of my favorites without question. I understand it's current and it's new, but it's like how can you not like what Max Crosby has brought to this Raider fan base, to the just what the Raider Nation now represents. I think it's going to go down as one. He's going to go down as one of the greatest Raiders to ever put on the silver and black. So, Chris, I'll throw it over to you. What do you think?
Yeah. So, the guy that got me to really become a Raiders fan is Bo Jackson. He's just one of those guys that just love watching him play. You know, just as a kid, just seeing him, it was just unreal. Just I remember crying when he got hurt, man. It was it devastated me, man. So definitely loved Bo. But my favorite Raider, at least at this point, and probably always will be my favorite Raider, Charles Woodson. You know, watched him ever since, remembering him even in high school, as a young kid when he was Mr. Ohio, and then playing for my favorite team, Michigan. And then, we drafted him. So, yeah, I'm definitely a traitor. Definitely a traitor.
I he's a traitor. Both of y'all see birds of a feather flock together. Both of y'all.
He came back. All right. That's all that matters. He came back.
I just love Woodson, man. And then, just as a guy that I would say just for fun, like my favorite, one of my favorites who's not necessarily the best in any way, shape, or form, but I loved Darren McFadden. I love McFadden. That was my guy. Just watching him play, always crossing my fingers, hoping that he never got hurt. But I love McFadden. So I'm gonna go with those three.
Severe, go for it.
I was kind of young for Bo. I'm older, but I was kind of young for Bo. I think by the time Bo got going, I was like 4 years old. So I really don't remember seeing him like live. But obviously, number one is Tim Brown. I used to have full on arguments with people, like when I was a kid, that Tim Brown was better than Jerry Rice, and that if Tim Brown had Steve Young and Joe Montana, he'd be doing what Jerry Rice is doing. And
good argument, though.
And that's not necessarily true, but he would have put up some crazier numbers, though. He did it. He at the time, when he left the league, he was one of the most productive receivers of all time, with guys like Jeff Hostetler and whatnot throwing to him. So, but definitely Tim Brown, number one. Number two, I'm gonna have to go with Napoleon Kaufman. That was kind of the running back I came up with. That was my guy. He was a shifty guy.
It was cold.
I love Napoleon Kaufman. And then, this one is kind of a little bit off the beaten path. But he was a guy that when we were it's hard to put him all time, but just that when we were a bad team, he gave me something to watch. As Derek Burgess.
I ain't mad at that. He was balling.
I can't say he's all time favorite, but just
one of your favorites.
I just love to watch Derek Burgess go to work.
I'm not feeling it. One guy, and we probably go on forever, and that's the tough part. But one guy that I actually really just loved watching. I hated that it seemed like he I know he moved on, but I loved Kurt Morrison.
Man,
as a linebacker.
I like Kurt.
Captain Kurt, man.
I like Kurt.
Man, and he's a Raider fan too.
As a youth player in high school, I played middle linebacker. So that was the guy that I kind of looked up to as just being a Raider fan and playing through. That's the guy I looked up to. I loved watching him play. Kurt Morrison just felt like he wore that number 52. And then once he was kind of out, then you had Khalil Mack that wore that 52, and that was just another exciting player. But yeah, Kurt Morrison, man, that was one guy that I loved watching play. So
I like Thomas Howard. Man.
Thomas Howard.
They had a good 1-2 punch, man.
They did, 100%. So
what was it called? The law firm?
The law firm. Yeah,
the law firm.
Thomas and Howard. Yeah. I remember. I remember that pick six Howard got, man. Howard was nice.
He tried to get Chris going with that. Nah,
No,
but
man.
man, yeah, McFadden was one of those ones too, man. McFadden was one
Yeah.
of those ones. I loved watching that guy play.
Yeah, McFadden. Hey, and McFadden was one of those guys, like just like a Napoleon Kaufman and all those guys, where it was just like he could be gone at any second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He could take off, and it was cool because he was, I believe he was from Texas, the Dallas area, and I got to meet him at a Dick's Sporting Goods because he was doing a signing when I lived in Texas, and so
McFadden?
yeah, so real cool guy. But no, appreciate you guys rolling through the chat. I appreciate you guys. You guys have run strong. You guys keep throwing messages up there. I love it. Gives me a hard time because I'm trying to pay attention to my guys talk, but at the same time trying to figure out
a lot going on.
getting all those chats up there. So I appreciate you guys rolling through. We're definitely going to link up again kind of next week and prepare and kind of go through just kind of how we think our matchup against the Chargers is going to be. But again, we can smell the grass. It's right around the corner. We got basically 1 week away from the opening kickoff, Chiefs versus the Ravens, but we're 10 days away from us kicking off and battling against the Chargers. So I'm excited again, chat. I appreciate you guys rolling through. We're going to link up again, early next week. Prepare for those Chargers. I appreciate you, Chris. Protect the Show podcast. The Severe Raider, guys, go subscribe to their channels. And before you guys leave, make sure you hit that like button. It definitely helps us out. But we're going to keep coming to you guys with this content and keep talking Raiders because it's a passion and we love it. And we appreciate all you guys rolling through. So at the end of the day, have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend, and we'll hit you guys up on the next one. We're out.